And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to another Mind, Body, Spirit development class. I've got a very special episode for you. Um, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about this brave new world that we're currently in right now. And yes, we're right in the middle of it. It's happening right in front of our faces, and you can't escape it anymore. It's not something that you can just you know uh, throw over your shoulder and call it nothing. This is really happening, and it's happening in real time. Um, we're in the middle of a 10-year process called 1984. Now, for some of you guys that follow me, I'm sure that you are very aware of what's happening right now. I'm sure that if you've got open ears and eyes wide open, you're able to see all the turmoil, all the chaos, all the division, and all of the subtle attempts from the government to keep a close eye on its citizens and to exert control over people. I mean, we've really have seen it over the last 3 years. And if we had ever mentioned it or said anything regarding the New World Order or totalitarianism and all the different things, all the little plots that they put together to butter people up and to convince them that living under a controlled surveillance is beneficial to society. We are much better off if we are closely monitored, if the government knows everything, our full name, our date of birth, our social security number, our address, our IP address, our social media, our text messages, our DMs, our phone calls. We're always being watched and we're always being listened to. And I'm not really sure if most people in this country are really aware of that. There are some. There are influencers that talk about it and try to raise awareness, but even them, I don't think that they understand the full gravity of what's being done to us and how we are no longer we can no longer live privately. It's almost as though we're like many celebrities. The paparazzi, they're always out in the bushes. They're always there, ready to take a picture. And 20 years ago, we thought it was just celebrities. But how long has this really been going on for? Well, you might say, well, but 20 years ago, we didn't have smartphones, we didn't have iPhones, we didn't have social media, we didn't have Uber, we didn't have Lyft, we didn't have food delivery apps. We didn't have any of that stuff 20 years ago. But the more that I look into how the government surveils people and how they keep close tabs on people for a long time, this may have been going on longer than we can remember. I mean, how many, think about this, how many of your phone calls from 20 years ago, 30 years ago were actually being listened to? It wasn't just you and Sally having a conversation. It wasn't just like you're a teenage boy and you're calling some girl up and you're hoping that her parents don't pick up and you're hoping that her parents aren't eavesdropping in on the conversation that you and your girlfriend are having about maybe sneaking out and going to have sex in his car. You're hoping that as a teenage boy that your parents are listening in on that, but the government may have been listening in on that. It may have been FBI, it may have been CIA. This has been going on long before the Patriot Act was first signed and legislated. This has been going on. All these different projects, all these different tragedies. All this chaos, right? 9/11. Looking back, we're coming up on 22 years ago now that happened. And I remember too, because I saw that on TV, and it was, they bombarded you with news and with updates for at least a week. There weren't any shows being played. There weren't any cartoons. You couldn't watch cartoons on Saturday. That was a huge bummer for me when I was a kid, I remember. But it was a big deal. But at least back then, people rallied together, people joined forces, and people hugged, but then again, social media, the internet wasn't really a big thing back then. So all we really had was each other. And it was a beautiful thing to see. But we've known for a long time that that this is a total calculated constructed plan to get people to give up more of their freedoms. When you're going through security at the airport, and the TSA is over there asking you to take your shoes off, and you have to you have to agree to a search, a pat down. Already right there, like they're stripping you of your freedom. They are stripping you of your just everything about who you are. They're stripping you of your sovereignty. But people see that as comfort. People see that as safety. People see that as the government just making sure that anybody that comes through is safe. They don't have any weapons on them. They don't have any nuclear bombs or anything like that. And so they think, well, they're doing this for the greater good. And that's how it always starts. This is just for your safety. This is just for the greater good. This is just so that we can keep Americans safe. And we need to keep everybody safe, right? That's how it always starts. We need to pass this bill. We need to pass this inequality bill because Black people aren't being treated fairly. Latinos are not being given a chance. Minorities are being treated less than. They're being treated as second-class citizens. And so we must implement affirmative action. That would be a good solution, right? No more racism. No more segregation. No more you know, unfair discrimination because of the color of someone's skin, unless you're white. Sounds a little bit like a double standard, doesn't it? But that's how it always starts. The government always wants to eliminate a problem by either creating more of the same problem or creating an even bigger problem. But it's under the guise of keeping you safe. It's under the guise of making sure that you're treated equally and fairly. And that's a trap. That is a gateway into getting people into full 100% compliance. And eventually it'll get to the point where you won't have much of a say. You're not going to be able to have an opinion about it. You're not going to be able to speak out about it like you can right now. And this doesn't just go for the United States. This will be worldwide. I mean, it really frustrates me when I hear conservative or libertarian influencers talking about communism and how we need to avoid it at all costs. You know, and some of them are just total Ukraine Zelensky dick suckers themselves, just like the liberals are, and they'll call Russia a communist country, even though that ended. I mean, it hasn't been a communist country for as long as I've been alive, and I think it actually did happen that year was 1991 when that was completely, you know, severed, and Russia was no longer called the Soviet Union. So you know, when people talk about these things like communism, is it coming from a place of understanding and of awareness? I mean, I don't even know sometimes. Yeah, it is true. Like, most of these other countries are communist countries, and you know, we should avoid communism, but we already live in communism. I don't think people are aware of that. You don't need to worry about communism anymore because it's already here. And if you disagree with me, and you know, you're keeping your eyes closed and you're keeping your ear, and you're plugging your ears, and you don't want to listen to what I have to say about this, well, really ask yourself, do you really have free speech? Can you say or type whatever you want on social media without there being some kind of consequence to it, without there being some kind of censorship, or some kind of, you know, they take your post down, or they'll shadow ban you? Does it sound like you're living in a free country? Even on Twitter, as much as conservatives like to paint Elon Musk out to be this free speech absolutist hero, you know, I've got some news for you guys. He's not. He's another WEF puppet. He's on their team. He's another establishment tyrant. And Twitter does still censor posts. They will still censor your speech as long as it goes against a certain narrative. It may not be the leftist narrative, but if you go against Twitter's narrative, then you get censored. Your post gets taken down. You get blocked. Especially if it's something that tarnishes Elon Musk's name or reputation, your shit will immediately get taken down. You know, you don't think that he can do that, or or if he has done that in the past. Well, look at his track record. Look at, ask anybody that's ever worked for him, or have ever been colleagues with this guy. And not to mention this this woman, I forget what her name is, but she used to work on I think it was Twitter's board at one point, and she just got hired back, and she's another World Economic Forum puppet. She's another one, that woman that was on the board of Bud Light. She's another WEF puppet. They're all aware of what the plan is, and they're all aware of what's going to eventually happen to people like you and I. The little people. Most of us are little people, according to these tyrants and these puppets over at the UN and the World Economic Forum. They think of us as stupid, less than, and not capable of standing on our own 2 feet. That's how they look at us right now, and that's how these other countries like China and like Russia, they're looking at us like, they don't look at us like we're America. They look at us like we are weak. They look at us like we are self-centered. They look at us as just these naive, gullible, idiots. Look at these people over there. Everybody, liberals and conservatives, we all look stupid to those other countries, and they are not threatened by us whatsoever. They do not care. Do you think Putin really respects us and really reveres us as being this leading superpower of the entire world? This beacon light of freedom? No, of course not. Now, I will give I've listened to speeches by Putin. I've gotten to know a little bit about who he is, and it seems to me like that country is not, they are not playing ball. They do not want to go along with the World Economic Forum agenda. They do not want to go along with this digital currency. They do not want to go along with these the CBDC. Is that right? The central banking digital currency. And hold on, I got some quotes that I'm going to go ahead and read off to you guys. We do not live in a free country anymore. We are just under the illusion that we still have some of our freedoms left. We can still, if I leave my phone at home, I shut it off. Can they spy on me? Yeah, sure. They can totally still spy on you. If you walk down the street, there's cameras attached to the traffic lights. If you go near any building, the same thing. Although certain buildings, especially if they're privately owned, which you probably won't see a lot of in Los Angeles, let's be honest, have cameras, right? I mean, there's cameras everywhere you go, and you just can't live life like you used to without a phone. Maybe 10, certainly 15 years ago, you could do really well, on your own without a phone. And we didn't even have iPhones or smartphones. We had these what do you call them? The Blackberries, and then we had the Sidekicks. That's what they were called, Sidekicks, where you just flip it over, you turn it over, and then you pull out the little keyboard, and then that's where you can text. That's where you can make phone calls. Maybe you can go on the internet. I mean, the quality of internet on those phones kind of suck, to be honest. But that's all you can really do. It's not like, back then you didn't see the average person walking down the street like this. You just saw them walking down the street. But since we are so codependent, and our phones now are like our, I mean, my phone is my lifeline. All of my work is on my phone. Every single bit. What would happen if I just decided, to shut this one off and delete all of my apps, go get a Motorola phone, like a little flip phone. I don't even know if my area would support the service on those phones. But imagine if I did that. Honestly, like if I could just do this full time and post all of my stuff on my website, my videos are on there, my content. Most of my events are done in person, where people can come, people can show up. So it's more meaningful. You're able to establish real living, like physical relationships with people. But I just can't do that right now. Well, once I can get to a point where I can do that, then that's something I'll definitely consider, because I mean, these phones are not only spying on us, but they are highly addictive. They are an instant dopamine rush, and you end up using all of your dopamine, and you start getting depressed, you start getting anxious, because your brain can't really take in so much information and so much input in such a short amount of time like that. People are destroying their brains as a result of that. That's why you're seeing so many people, they're depressed, they have brain fog, their speech is almost as like someone who has dementia. People are becoming less social because of it, and we're being watched over, we're being spied on in the process. And let me make one thing clear, especially to those of you guys that are conservatives, is that communism is the last thing that we need to worry about right now. We don't need to worry about China. We don't need to worry about Russia. What we need to be worrying about is what's being written, what's being set in stone, and what's being taken place here. And something that will be completed and that will be finished. They're saying by the year 2030. There is an opportunity for a possible postponement of that if they're not completing all of their tasks, if they're not if the implementation doesn't unfold in the way that they want it to, then they might postpone it. But I think I think that this is going to be solidified. It's going to be signed. It's going to be written in stone by the year 2030. And that's not a long time from now. That's only, what, about 7 years? 7 years from now, we could live in a world that we literally do not recognize anymore. And I don't think people understand that. If you're familiar with the book 1984 and you've read it front to back, then you can see what's happening with AI, what's happening with this worldwide surveillance that we're under. The fact that anytime you search for something on Google, it's already there. It's already in the search results. Because maybe you've searched for something related or similar to that in the past. Maybe because you were talking about it with somebody in a room that you were in, and your phone was listening to what you were talking about. And so you go to Google and you say, maybe you go into the little speaker, or maybe you just type it in. It's already there. It's already in the search results. How does that happen? You don't think that we could live in a completely different society, a completely different world, where you are not going to be able to have the freedom of movement that you used to, where they can just turn these COVID mandates on and off and on and off like a light switch, like they did 2 or 3 years ago, but worse? You don't think that they could do that? They're already trying to pass a pandemic treaty right now that's supposed to be written and signed by the end of the year. And that's something that we need to be aware of right now. That's something that we really need to worry about, because if that treaty passes, we will be subject to just complete totalitarianism. And again, we're not really sure when that's going to take full effect. It might take full effect in 2030. It might take full effect sooner. I mean, look at how fast things are moving. Look at how quickly everything is starting to unravel. So we need to be aware. We need to be on our toes, and we need to quit worrying about just these ridiculous, mundane societal issues, like men and women getting married later in life, like population control and declining birth rates. Not true. Like all this transgender stuff, and Bud Light, and those are all curveballs. Those are all distractions. This is all this is sort of dangling a Cheez-It in front of a mice that's on a spinning wheel, and hopefully it catches the Cheez-It and eats it. That's what they're doing. They're just dangling this little Cheez-It. I say Cheez-It because I love Cheez-Its, but they're dangling this little thing in front of us so that we don't look at what's going on over there. And what's going on over there is a lot worse. It's a lot more nefarious than we give them credit for. That's what we really need to understand. But I have a couple of other things that I want to cover. But I want to go ahead and just read off a couple of quotes here from the book 1984. The first one is, "History has stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right." You think about which party that might be? Is it the Republican Party? Is it the Democratic Party? Is it the conservatives? Is it the liberals? Who's always right? Well, I'm always right. People that are conservatives, are always right. And those other people, they're just stupid. They don't know what they're standing for. They don't know what they're talking about. They're the evil pieces of shit that we need to just cast away, and we need to get rid of those people because they're right, we're wrong. Or vice versa. We're the bad guys, we're the evil ones. And they need to terminate us. They need to make sure that we don't win, because we're so evil and we're so we're so insensitive, and we're so and that's how this always works, right? Good versus evil. We're the good guys, they're the evil guys. We're the evil guys, they're the good guys. It's just this constant revolving door of division, or it could be something as minute as you and your friend. Oh, that guy John, he's just another libtard. He's just another liberal idiot. He supports Robert F. Kennedy. He supports Biden. He supports Bernie Sanders. I don't want to hang out with him anymore. And vice versa. My friend John doesn't like to hang out with me because I'm a MAGA supporter. I'm a Trump supporter. Or I support DeSantis. Or I support Larry. Anybody that has an R right next to their name, I have to make it my obligation to vote for them in the next coming election in 2024. And they think I'm evil. So anyway, that's one quote. The next quote is, "War is peace, freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength." Wait, sorry. Let me repeat that one more time. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. So, whatever is up is down. Whatever is down is up. Whatever is right is wrong. Whatever is wrong is right. Whatever is to the left is actually right. Whatever is to the right is actually left. Whatever is west is actually east. Whatever is east is actually west. Whatever is north is actually south. Whatever is north is south is actually north. That's the kind of world that we're living in right now. This sort of like what's right is wrong, I make up the rules. We must change the meaning of gravity. We must call the sky red instead of blue. And there's a reason behind that. There's a reason why we as a society have fallen so hard to the point where there's no turning back. There doesn't seem to be any recourse. And it's because we're not looking at all of the internal issues. We're not looking, we don't really look out for each other and care about each other the way that we did. I mean, be honest. When was the last time that you really checked in with any of your friends? And I mean, some of you guys, you have a full contact list of friends, that you keep saved in your phone, because you like to have a lot of friends, or maybe you try to maybe you surround yourself with all these different people because you don't want to look at yourself in the mirror, right? But those are fair weathered. Those are just the people that you call to see if they want to go to that party or if they want to go to that concert. Those are the kind of people that if you buy 2 tickets and you don't have anybody to take or anybody to go with, then you pick up a friend out of 100 friends, and you pick Aaron. You say, hey Aaron, I have this thing tomorrow. I don't have anybody to go with. You want to come, but you don't know each other from Adam. You've never really developed a person close relationship with each other. So maybe you do that, but very few people keep in contact, and people just aren't looking out for each other the way that we used to. And so we're not doing check-ins. We're not, I might be going through a really hard time. I might be suffering internally. I might be just going through a lot of stress and a lot of turmoil. And nobody cares. I might now. I mean, obviously, I'm just, this is just hypothetical, but this is exactly what they've wanted for years, for decades, is for technology to grow, for technology to advance so far, for it to get so comfortable and convenient that people don't really take relationships seriously anymore. And that's why you have so many people that are hurting, people that their friends don't care about them, their family doesn't care about them. They might go and see a therapist, and they're just there to do their job and sit and listen to you and put you on medication. I think it's important that no matter what you're going through right now or how you grew up, that you take those experiences and figure out a way to help let them make you better. Let them help you improve, right? You figure out a way to come out on the other side better than you've ever been. Um, but it doesn't just go away. It's still there. It's still sitting there. It's still sitting in your brain, just waiting to be taken care of, just waiting to be cured. As a grown man at 32 years old, there's this little boy inside of me that is just screaming for help. And we all have that little child inside of us. You know, little 5-year-old Matt is hurting and you know, like, needs help. But I think we all need help, and most people don't know where to turn to. So most people they become confused. They try to find a hero, whether that's Donald Trump, whether that's Robert F. Kennedy, whether that's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, or if it's Clint Eastwood, whoever it is, whoever your hero is, even though you don't know them, you don't know who they are, you've never met them, and you probably will never meet them. They mean a lot to you. They mean the world to you. And the second that they get on that voting box, you're either going to the polls to vote for that candidate, or you stay home and you fill out your mail-in ballot and you just mail it off. But everybody's just always looking for a hero. But that's how these regimes, that's how these that's how it always starts, is by promising you the world, by making a promise to you that if you vote for me next year in 2024, come January 2025, you're gonna notice your life change dramatically. You're gonna notice that you have a little bit more money in your bank account. You're gonna notice that there's less and less homeless people out on the streets, sleeping in tents every day, because we've taken care of the homeless problem. We're taking care of these people. We're giving them homes. We're giving them shelter. We're putting them in rehabs. You know, you will have more available work. You will have more opportunities. But just show up. Just show up at the polls, election Tuesday next year in 2024, and I promise you, your life will get better. And that's how it always starts, guys. That's how this always works, and that's how it always has been working for decades. If you look at any dictator throughout history, they'll matter of fact, let me just go through all these the different. So Agenda 2030 is also what's called the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, which a lot of people don't know this, but were first implemented back in 2016. So I mean, this agenda specifically has been contemplated. It has been talked over. It's been communicated since I mean, at least 1992. This has been in the works for a very, very long time, and in order to make it work, in order for it to grow, and for it to become what it's going to be, you have to throw in these different curveballs, these different the terrorist attacks, these shootings. How many of these mass shootings are being it's not just the person committing this heinous act, but this person might have connections with these news agencies. They're telling an actor to go in and shoot up a school or shoot up a bunch of people in a grocery store, so that they can show up with their cameras and with their notebooks to interview the victims, or to interview the survivors. You guys notice that when the shooting happened in Tennessee, I believe it was like a couple months ago now, when immediately after that took place, the news reporters were already right there, ready to go, ready to film, ready to interview people. It's kind of weird, isn't it? And every single time that these massacres or these shootings take place, we always got to talk about gun control. We always got to talk about the Second Amendment. The only way to prevent all these shootings is we got to take away all the guns. We got to make sure that every gun that's in circulation right now, which I mean millions of guns, we're just going to get rid of all the guns, so that this doesn't happen again. Because it's not like, I don't know, the suspect or the murderer will, it's not like they're just gonna show up with a knife or with an axe, like that guy that beheaded that woman in San Francisco a year ago. Because that doesn't happen, right? That's, we don't have to worry about people, like stabbing other people, cutting people, decapitating people, people. We don't have to worry about, people, like poisoning them. Let's just get rid of all the guns, because guns are the only way that you can ever murder or kill people. Totally ridiculous, right? When you really think about it. That's always the hot topic, is we need more gun control legislation, and we need to get rid of all of the assault weapons, or all of the weapons of war, so that they can disarm the population. Because once a population is without protection, without weapons, without guns, and the government decides to come in and say, hey, stay in your houses, do not leave. Oh yeah, yeah, make me stay in my house. I have a gun, I have a weapon, what are you gonna do? That's why it's all constructed, it's all premeditated, and it's all written out, and it's published. So I'm going to go ahead and go over some objectives here that, these are the Agenda 2030 objectives, and it's all great. It all sounds wonderful, and reading this, you might get a sense that, hey, those people really care. They want to see, less. We don't want to see people suffer, right? We don't want people to go broke. We don't want people to die. So this all sounds really good. So I'm gonna go over some of them with you guys right now. Okay, so number 1, no poverty. So you don't ever have to worry about being broke. You don't ever have to worry about whether or not you're going to be able to pay your bills. You don't have to worry about whether or not you're gonna lose your apartment, or if you're gonna be evicted and get thrown out on the streets. You're not gonna have to worry about that anymore. So that's number one. Number two, no hunger. You're never gonna have to worry about going hungry. You're never gonna have to worry about where your next meal is gonna come from. You don't ever have to worry about if you go to a grocery store, are they gonna have vegetables? Are they going to have milk? Are they going to have eggs? You don't have to worry about that anymore. You're taken care of. You don't have to stand at a bread line. You don't have to go to Salvation Army for your food anymore, because they're taking care of it. You will have full meals. You will have all of your fruits and vegetables. You will have all of your nutrients. You will have, all of your groceries and shit. You can even eat until you can't eat anymore. You can eat until you're the size of a medicine ball. Until you can't get off of your bed. Until you can't walk. Until you're so unhealthy that you can't breathe anymore or walk anymore. Number three, good health. So no matter what happens, no matter if you start having breathing problems, or if you start having inflammation, a lot of inflammation, and you start to become type 2 diabetic because you're eating a lot of sugar and you're eating more cholesterol than your body thinks is necessary or healthy. So you're going to need to go to a doctor. You're going to need to go to a doctor to see what you need to do. Or what happens if you fall on your head and you almost get a concussion, but you need to get it looked at. But you don't really have any money, and you don't have any health insurance either. So if you go to a doctor and you expect to be taken care of, you can't do that because you don't have health insurance. No problem. They'll take care of that for you. It'll be Medicare for all. Everybody will have equal access to healthcare, which I think that's a good idea too. I think everybody, no matter what happens, no matter if they're employed or unemployed, should have health coverage. And if they can't afford it, or if they can't pay anything for it, they should have. We need to provide options for people, but how do we do that without going after the taxpayers? We can't get the government involved in that. So, but there's another aspect to it too, which is that if you have good health, you're going to live longer. You will no longer worry about aging or aging dramatically, especially because you've been drinking a lot for a long time, or you've been abusing drugs for a long time. You won't have to worry about aging rapidly or getting unhealthy. There's going to be a reverse aging pill. So you'll never have to worry about your health deteriorating. You're never going to have to worry about getting older. You're never going to have to worry about dying. It's all good. Let's go to the next one. Affordable energy. So no gas powered vehicles, no gas powered stoves, no pizza ovens, no no saunas, no steam rooms, anything that they're saying is just a waste of resources and is just damaging our carbon footprint. We need to get rid of it, and the solution to that is by making everything electric, making everything digital. We will not have anything analog anymore. We will not have any. We will have to always rely on technology. We will always have to rely on electricity. We don't ever have to worry about our money getting lost. We don't ever have to worry about fraudulent activity because they're going to be the frauds. You might post something, you might say something, and if they hear that, or if they see one of your posts, all they have to do is freeze your bank account. All they have to do is shut your car off if you have an electric vehicle. That's all they have to do. But why not? It's convenient. It's instant. It's reliable. Number 6, quality education. Whatever that means. Education about what? Educating people on how if you're white, you are literally the Antichrist. You are born a racist. Or how about if you're 5 years old and you're a boy, but now you're starting to feel like a little girl. Do not worry about going to your parents about that. And if your parents refuse to help you in your sex change, then we'll just take that kid away from them. That's quality education. That's what we're seeing in the United States right now and worldwide. Number 7, available work. Whatever that means. Available work for whom? Because everything is starting to become automated. You go to any grocery store or any pharmacy, you go to any Walmart, any Target right now, and look at how much harder it's getting to get like a real live clerk or a real live cashier to ring you up. Not a huge fan of the self-checkout stands. I'm just not. But most people see that as convenience. Oh, look at here! I don't have to stand in line behind other people anymore. I can just go to the self-checkout. Okay, so that's already out of the question. And what about if you're a writer, or if you're an actor, or if you are a teacher, or if you are a pastor, or if you are, what if you are a plumber or an electrician? They're not going to need you anymore. Guys, this thing is going to cut off in about 10 seconds. So I'm going to be right back. I'm going to come and do a part 2. and we'll go ahead and finish this up.